Don't call me black no more. Call me American. Call me American. That shit is making us racist. That shit is arrogant. That shit is arrogant. Don't call him white no more. Call him American. Call him American. American. That shit is making us racist. That shit is arrogant. That shit is. What Black History Month means to me in 2021 is a time to reflect on American history, economically and socially, to see our progression and where we could be going and the mistakes that we have made. It's just a time to reflect on American history. It's called Black History, but it's American history. It's time for all Americans to reflect on the progression that we've made to unify our union and to treat everyone with respect. Blacks being the underlining part of the motivation of the time to reflect, but it's really a time for everyone to reflect.
Well. Here we are. We are back at the Ropeadope Room for day 2 of the Ropeadope Music and Arts Festival. As always, doing our own tech. So we're going to take a brief moment. I'm going to ask my remote technician, Mr. Fabian Brown, to say hello quickly and then check our audio to make sure that everything is coming through nicely.
Well, Louis, thanks for having us. We are hearing the audio from the music and we're hearing the audio from your microphone. So
excellent.
All sounds good so far.
So day 2 of the Ropeadope Music and Arts Festival, we are rolling. Forgot to turn the sounds down, just send me a Slack message if you like. So what is today all about? First of all, yes, it is Bandcamp Friday. It's been a super exciting day, and boy, talk about a lot to do. People have been coming in by the hundreds, tuning in and picking up repress of Yaz Ahmed's vinyl, Javier Santiago, Maurice Brown, Christian Scott-Atunde Ajwa, Lindsay Webster, and more test pressings, and shopping the Ropeadope Bandcamp store and supporting artists directly. We want to see more comments. Artists really want to hear from you. They don't get to perform and see you on stage. They want to hear what you have to say. So drop into that Bandcamp app, send a message. We will respond, and they will respond as they can, and standing by. So today is about Black History Month, Black Heritage Month, African American History Month. The name gets changed a little bit here and there, but it's all about the celebration of the contributions to American culture that African American Black people have given us, and is ongoing. It is positive. It is so powerful. We don't think about it enough. We're going to chat with some people about this, and we are going to focus a bit on the Robert Sput Searight director's edit of his album King's List. Coming up in the 6 o'clock hour, we have a recording of a conversation that we had with Sput and some notable friends of his, Kat Dyson, Divinity Roxx, Chip Shearin, and Aaron Spears, talking about what it means to them, and also about the National Black Musicians Coalition, which is launching. The membership drive begins tomorrow, so that's really interesting. In between, we have some drops from Ropeadope artists talking about what Black history means to them. We've got some great music from Blacklight Collective, from Gordon Campbell, and also from the Sput album King's List. That's a lot. With that, I'm going to turn the mic over to Mr. Fabian Brown, and I'm going to welcome to the room, as the audio comes up, the wonderful and purposeful and talented Jillian Margot. So she's connecting in. Fabian, how are you? Are you safe and healthy today?
Everybody's safe. Everybody is healthy, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have a spot here on the virtual sofa, if you will, celebrating music, celebrating Bandcamp Day, celebrating Black History Month, and surrounded by positive people over the last few weeks, we've had a lot of conversations. I personally had a lot of conversations with many musicians and artists, friends, family, about a whole bunch of things. It's like a whole new world, right? After January 20th, there was a lot of celebration going on, and it continues to move forward into this month. And I'm just excited, Louis. I'm excited because I get to speak with people on a daily basis about positive things and surround myself with people who think positively and think a little bit differently about the future and filled with optimism. So
Beautiful. What did we say yesterday? That happiness is a job. It takes a lot of work to be happy, and that's one of my takeaways from working with all these wonderful artists. Bear with me one second. I have my computer deciding to do things that it wants to do all by itself. So apparently it was time for iTunes to open. Welcome to the room, Apple. And a big shout here to Jillian Margot. Jillian, how are you?
Hey guys, I'm doing pretty well, thank you. How are you both?
Good.
Good. I heard a little bit of what Fabian was talking about, so I'm glad to hear you're doing well. You guys look well.
Thanks, you do too, Jillian. I appreciate you making the time and hanging out here with us and talking music and all that other good stuff too. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, and I really appreciate that you guys do this as often as you do, because it can't be easy, and the content and everything, it's pretty awesome to have. I have to say, it's really nice to be a new member of the Ropeadope family, because there really is a community, and I'm even still just starting to get a real grasp of the how it works, and how cool of a community it really is.
We don't know how it works. We're just winging it.
Just keep that train on the tracks, baby.
That's right. There's a cartoon for kids and of every age called Wallace and Gromit. And I don't know if you've ever seen this scene where it's a big chase scene, and they're laying down the tracks for the train while they're on the engine, and that's what Ropeadope feels like. And I'll have to take some responsibility for that. A lot of that is my fault. But we like to try new things, and we like to reach people. You have to work hard to beat these tech overlords and these powerful companies that seem to have a very limited vision for what the world is and can be. And so we are the counterbalance. It's a lot of work to do that.
I like that, yeah.
Fabian, I'm going to hand you the mic while I check some things, and I would love if you chat with Jillian about, we have a couple of videos coming up, and we can talk about those and also the subject at hand.
Yeah, I'm just super excited that Jillian took this invitation, this time out, from your day away from your family, and all the things that are going on in life to spend some time. And it's funny because, well, not funny, but you mentioned community, and plugged me into the Ropeadope community and just being a part of that. And that's really a reflection of people just like you, being on this roster and being on this label and just being so willing, just to share time with us here. I know things that we do can sometimes, seem unconventional or this or that. But for some reason, we've been able to attract amazing people just like you that want to participate and be a part of that community. Which kind of really brings me to the topic and the subject at hand of Black History Month. And in my experience growing up, being half Black, being half Puerto Rican, I always felt culturally and historically being tugged in both ways, and almost having a difficult time fitting in no matter where I went. And I don't know if anyone listening could relate to that or not, but it wasn't until I got a little bit older and having conversations. And for me, in 2021, Black History Month means an opportunity to have conversations with intelligent people on many different subjects about our history, but more importantly, where we can go together in the future as a community. And we connected via email, via Slack, and I had asked for you to share some words on what 2021.
And I gave you some words.
No, you listen. It's
Yeah.
for me. I gotta be honest, Jillian. It's an opportunity for me just to connect with people on a human and a deeper level, and how you connected it with your personal experience and then tied it in with your music, and your upbringing. It was a beautiful read, and
Thank you.
for sure, man. I would just really, can you maybe paraphrase or
Yeah.
recant some of the things that you had shared with me?
Sure. I mean, I can relate to you a little bit because I'm also biracial. So, a lot of people would say I'm half white, half black. I grew up in Canada where I would say I'm like half European and half West Indian. Okay, so that's what it actually is, a little bit more. So, and so I understand that being pulled in one direction, being pulled in the other direction, not quite fitting in one, not quite fitting in the other, but really kind of feeling at home, at least now. I mean, it took me a long time growing up, but now I feel very much at home, being immersed kind of in either or both. And frankly, in like dipping into other cultures too. I have a very, very multicultural family. And I mean, that's kind of the future. Blended in multicultural, we know that, right? We see that a lot more than say my parents did, and what that means for me as an artist is that, collaboration with different cultures and different genres is just natural. And my perspective, I don't know if actually this is what I wrote to you or to somebody else recently, but my perspective as a person is what informs my music, right? It's not really, I'm a jazz, musician, or I do this kind of music. It's not really genre specific, so to speak. I really feel that, when people say to me, what's it like to perform with, trumpet star Jeremy Pelt? I'll say, well, he's this kind of a person. So it kind of comes out in his music, and that's what it's like. You know what I mean? And I feel the same way. It's not about, it's not just about where we come from. It's not just about, the external instrument that we play or the external things that are going on around us. It's about our personal subjective feelings and experiences. And that's what informs our music. So yeah, I mean, my experience, I think, as a human being, hopefully speaks to other human beings. And that's really all I try to achieve as an artist. I try not to think of myself as sort of like being a part of only one community or, representing only one community, mainly because, I frankly didn't have a lot of representation myself growing up, had a bit of an identity crisis. And so, I had to find my own way. And as much as I recognize, and I'm just thrilled that there are, many other young kids out there who are mixed race who maybe can see me, when I'm out there performing and go, wow, I'm like her. She's got my kind of hair and my color of skin. She's got my freckles, my full lips, my nose, whatever, all that stuff. I appreciate that. And I think that's so wonderful. And I want to see more of that. Madam Vice President, for example, as you said, we're all thinking it's a new day, and I can't believe it. I'm very excited about her. How could we not be? But yeah, I mean, to sort of think about Black History Month as, well, we've got, as so many people say, the 28-day month of the year to celebrate Black history. That's an everyday thing. That's an everyday thing for us. We're celebrating, our African American history, our West Indian history, every day. I look in the mirror, I'm well aware of what my history is. Growing up and as an adult, I'm constantly searching for, more information, more of, history, more of her story to connect with and understand, where I come from. And, hopefully then reflect that back, to people in some way. But musically speaking, I mean, I just want to connect with other humans and hope that, I guess in a way it's like, look, just because I am where I come from, the mix of cultures, or you can, call me one or the other if that makes you more comfortable. But ultimately what I'm talking about and where I'm coming from as a person, my experiences are going to be similar to somebody else's, regardless of whether or not they come from where I come from or look like what I look like, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's the beauty of music and art.
Beautiful.
I'm hanging on every single word, and I can identify with a lot that you had to say. You know, especially going back to the identity crisis. I can tell you stories all day long about that, and I don't particularly remember growing up in my household being one or the other. I just came from a very loving family and a loving community at large, and you know, my life has been nothing but love. You know, and of course, you know, you get those weird experiences. You know. Some weird is an understatement, but you get those experiences, and I think we all know what we're talking about. And just to listen to you articulate, you know, your thoughts and feelings, and you know, not being bound to, you know, the history, right? But being freed by the experiences that you've had in your life, and allowing those experiences really dictate who you are and the message you have in your music. I think that's again, I'm just fortunate to be in the freaking room with people just like you who can really help.
And likewise.
Agreed. I'm I had never thought about the 28 days of February, but I want to say that I'm also a huge advocate of the month of February. Having been born there, that's it's not so bad even if it's a couple of days less. Let's jump into a video, and I'd like everybody to see and hear Jillian's wonderful music.
His face, so soft and wondrous fair, the purest eyes and the strongest hearts. I love the ground on where he stands. The ground on where he stands. He knows. my true love's hand, of my true love's hand, of my true love's
How beautiful is that? That, one of the drawbacks of doing this is that I don't get to enjoy the videos like you do at home. So I'm going to go back and watch this again. This is the Ropeadope Music and Arts Festival. We are broadcasting from the Ropeadope Room just outside the great city of Philadelphia. You can see one of the walls of fame behind me with many of the CDs and vinyl that we have released and some of the t-shirts and the beautiful cinematic blurred background. We are speaking with Jillian Margot directly, and I want to encourage people, if you're enjoying this conversation and the music, to go to jillianmargot.bandcamp.com and support by purchasing a high-quality download or CD. And if you are unable to do so, please share this information with friends. Let people know about this wonderful music. And with that, I'll turn the mic back over to Mr. Fabian Brown and Jillian Margot.
Amazing, Jillian. Black is the Color was the title of that track that we just heard from. And interestingly enough, I noticed that, it was probably recorded in that COVID time. Maybe you could talk a little bit about, the essence of the song and the process of actually shooting that video.
Yeah. So I decided to do this tune for the album just because it's a folk song that goes back. It's a Scottish folk song, I think pre-1900, and it's originally Black is the Color of my true love's hair, her face so soft and wondrous fair, right? And it's been recorded widely by folk musicians and pop musicians, and it sort of entered the jazz community, to my knowledge, when Nina Simone recorded it in 1964. And she changed the lyrics, Black is the color of my true love's hair, his face so soft and wondrous fair, the purest eyes and the strongest hands, as opposed to, I think it used to be the purest eyes and the softest hands. She did the gender flip, and here's this woman singing this song that was previously reserved for men to sing, and it was such a powerful statement to me as a young woman, hearing Nina Simone, who was such a powerful force anyway, and singing it in the mid-'60s when there was all that, the civil rights movement, and there was just, it was reflected in the sound of jazz at that time. So I decided to come up with an arrangement that was a bit of a nod to that era of jazz, the John Coltrane, Crescent, Love Supreme era. So you hear that kind of in the beginning. And then we decided to do, of course, this, just to touch on the video part of it, of course, given that this album was released on October 23rd and, we're all in lockdown, and I had seen months before all of my, shows that had been booked get postponed sort of indefinitely. And, what do you do as a musician? You figure out, well, I have to get around this. I have to find a way to bring this new music to my fans and to people. And one of the ways that I figured would make sense would be to find the largest studio that I could find, the largest room, and get the quintet in there, and so that we could space out. And we're about 10 feet apart from each other, which is pretty fantastic. And, we're masked except me, who's in the front and facing away anyway. And it was freezing because we had the doors open and stuff, which is not very conducive to recording, but we're in an insulated inside room. And we did a long concert of all the album tunes and a few more as well, some new music, so that I can kind of present that for festivals and so on this year. And it was a really interesting process because, I mean, frankly, I spent the first many months of this year or last year, I should say, feeling pretty freaked out, like many people, and worried about going and being in person. But, we realized we had all this, we really miss playing live. This is the thing, is that energy with each other on stage, the energy between the performers and the audience. That's such a big part of what we do. So I thought, okay, we can do this safely. We'll just follow all the guidelines. There was hand sanitizer everywhere. There were Lysol wipes everywhere, wiping down everything, Everybody had masks on. I literally would take off my mask, reapply lipstick, sing a tune. If I had to stop and we had to break and I'd talk to the band, it was like I'd put the mask on. So it was really far out. It was really a weird experience to have it happen. But at the same time, it was such a beautiful kind of unfolding of energy that, as I mentioned to you before, was kind of pent up, this pent up COVID energy, I call it, because really some of the performances that came out through these cats that I had in the band, beloved friends, very fine musicians, were incredible. The performances were just like, I think Billy Kilson, who's the drummer on the album and in the video, I think he actually took flight on a couple of tunes. He was just incredible. And I actually had a couple of guests, as you saw there, Ingrid Jensen. I had her because trumpet, again, is also a bit controversial being in the room. And not having all of the PPE for the trumpet instrument, I actually asked her just to, hey, stay at home, record it at home. We'll fly you in on the video. So, hopefully that looks okay. We made it work. She sounded wonderful, as she always does. And I feel like audiences now are kind of used to seeing that kind of amalgamated performance. And it's kind of fun,
It is kind of fun. It brings an intimacy to the process. It's a little different than being out in a crowd. There's no distraction of other people around you. No one else is talking. You can't complain about the other people. You lose something, obviously, but you also get this very direct and intimate feel. So let's move on to one more.
I follow the night, can't stand the light. When will I begin to live again? One day I'll fly away, leave your love to yesterday. What more can your love do for me? When will love be through with me? I make it alone when love is gone. Still you make your mark here in my heart. One day I'll fly away, leave your love to yesterday. What more can your love do for me? When will love be through with me? Why live life from dream to dream and dread the day when dreaming ends? La 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 la
All right. I could just watch that and listen all night, sipping a nice glass of whiskey, relaxing and dreaming away. Jillian, thank you so much for beautiful, beautiful music.
Thank you. Thanks for playing.
The concept of escape, the concept of, the hardship of life. I want to talk about that and the ability. There's a sadness to it, but there's an ability in there.
There really is. There really is. I think of it as like a real positive kind of a thing. I mean, I think for me it comes from the music itself. Now, Joe Sample, based this melody off of Waltz of the Flowers from the Nutcracker. Da, dun, da, da, dun, da. And he wrote One Day I'll Fly Away in 4/4. And naturally, of course, I went and took it and put it back in 3/4. But, loving the lyrics written by Will Jennings, who's, of Oscar and Grammy winning fame, about, as you said, that kind of, escapism, but possibility and the positivity. So for me, it's such a cool tune, and I think it kind of goes from like the darkness, I follow the night, I make it alone, but one day I'll fly away. Like there's possibility for me out there. And I don't know, I just feel like if I can find a beautiful piece of music that is tried and true and super positive, I'm going to sing it. I'm going to sing it and get that message out there. So, I love that. I love that. I love the performance of that on the album and on that video, because as I mentioned previously, I think that's the tune where I felt that Billy Kilson on drums had started to take flight a little bit, and it's so much fun to perform. What can I say? Beautiful.
People, you can find Power Flower from Jillian Margot with some beautiful graphics, by the way, on the CD. High quality downloads and CDs available at jillianmargot.bandcamp.com. And please support and send a positive message through the Bandcamp app to Jillian and share this with your friends. We're going to jump over to Chicago. We talk about that concept, One Day I'll Fly Away, escapism, the positive energy that comes out of the hardship is represented in this track as well, Freedom Day.
Whisper, say we're free. Rumors flying, must be lying. Can it really be? Can't conceive it, can't believe it, but that's what they say. Slave no longer, slave no longer. This is Freedom Day. Freedom Day, it's Freedom Day. Roll those shackles and chains away. Everybody that I see says it's really true. We're free.
What's good, people? This is Sean Martin. Sitting here reflecting on Black history and exactly what it means to me in 2021. Black history to me in 2021 means quite a few things, especially when you look at all of the tumultuous activity that happened between 17, 18, 19, and 20. Going back as far as Alton Sterling, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, of course, Sandra Bland, and there's so many names that we don't know. That you have to take into account that when you look at Black history, you look at, past all those tumultuous events, you look at how exceptional African Americans have been in this culture in creating such a broad range of excellence. So when I think about Black history in the year 2021, I think about excellence. I think about Black excellence. I think about the Duke Ellingtons and the Ella Fitzgeralds. I think about the Obamas. I think about how we've always stood the test of time and how we've always stood on the shoulders with tenacity and overcame. And yet and still, we're still overcoming. Black History 2021.
You want war and I want peace, but I'll fight you in these streets. If it means one less mother's gotta cry tonight. I got hope, but you got guns, and they're pointed at my sons. So I gotta switch up real quick, or I won't survive. We get no justice, and we take too much. You keep pushing till I'm backed up against the wall. Hey, there's no mistake. Every life you take, the same men you want for me is gonna be a fall. Yeah. How much more can we take till we rise up and say, whoa, too many.
Black history is super important to me, especially this month, because
You want war and I want peace, but I'll fight you in these streets. If it means one less mother's gotta cry tonight. I got hope, but you got guns, and they're pointed at my sons. So I gotta switch up real quick, or I won't survive. We get no justice, and we take too much. You keep pushing till I'm backed up against the wall. Hey, there's no mistake. Every life you take, the same men you want for me is gonna be a fall. Yeah. How much more can we take till we rise up and say, whoa, too many lost. Show respect for my life, and we all will survive. Whoa, too many lost. Yeah. I don't have another cheek. Yeah. And I don't have a prayer to speak. Yeah. But I got a promise to keep. Yeah. Yeah. I wanna call this place my home, but I just don't feel safe alone. Yeah. Imagine how that takes a toll. Yeah. We get no justice, and we take too much. You keep pushing till I'm backed up against the wall. Hey, there's no mistake. Every life you take, the same men you want for me is gonna be a fall. Yeah.
Anything you do to us gonna bring you down. The powers that be all want us to divide when we should be standing side by side. How much more can we take till we rise up and say, whoa, too many lost. Show respect for my life, and we all will survive. Whoa, too many lost. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is way too many lost.
Black history is super important to me, especially this month, because most of our history is not really told. And it's not really black history, it's just history. It's American history, it's world history, because we've given in so many different areas, from open heart surgery to the filament for the light bulb, to the creation of music and the arts. I mean, just every aspect black people have given to it. And it should be known, it should be touted. I think it's also important for the youngsters and for the youth coming up. They understand that we come from kings and queens and that we are very creative, and we've really given to the building, literally built America by hand for free. We literally built the economy for this country. So it needs to be told. More people need to know about it, and hopefully them knowing about it will help us have a better world and a better America, you know, and just more equity. All right, thank you.
No, thank you, Gordon Campbell, for telling it like it is. We are back at the Ropeadope Music and Arts Festival. My name is Louis Marks. I'm here at the Ropeadope Room, and tonight we are talking about Black History Month. We're getting some real commentary about the United States. It's not divisive. It's inclusive, as we saw at the top of the hour. Truth does not have to be divisive. We can tell the story, and we can talk about unity. And these artists represent exactly that: recognition of truth, understanding, a common language, and the ability to include everyone. So I'd like to, we just heard Gordon Campbell, Too Many Lost, and before that some deep conversation from the great Sean Martin. Stick around, we've got some more from Sean later, but right now I'd like to welcome to the room from Los Angeles, California, at the studio, Mr. Gordon Campbell. Gordon, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How you guys doing?
We are good. We are good. I'm having fun with the live switching.
There you go. All right.
So, I mean, I think your drop and your statement speaks for itself. But let's just take a step back. Where are you? You're in this. You have a studio in Los Angeles?
Yep, I'm in North Hollywood right now, California. Just walked into the studio. I have some stuff I got to record today, drum-wise. So, yeah, I'm here, just getting it done, staying away from people, and happy I have my own space so I can come cut my drums and don't have to interact with anybody.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I got a call from a musician yesterday, or a text saying, "Hey, can we get together tomorrow?" I'm like, "No, I don't get together. I stay in my room,
Man, this is my house or here. This is pretty much, or the grocery store.
When I was a kid, I had to go to my room a lot, so I think I just got so used to it. My mom used to say, you can't punish the guy. Like you send him to his room and he finds things to do, and that was pre-internet too. Yeah.
Exactly.
So the album Conversations, of which Too Many Lost was the lead single, is really a wonderful, wonderful piece of art, and I encourage people to go to gordoncampbell.bandcamp.com, after this program and support Gordon. Also, send him a message on the Bandcamp app. He'll respond. And high quality downloads, compact discs. There's some signed copies there. That's how you do it. And I just want to report real quickly that we have had an unbelievable number of orders and people just supporting today on Bandcamp. So I want to send thanks out to all the people who have jumped in and shown just incredible love and support for musicians. So, Gordon, what's next for you?
Thank you.
What's
that?
that?
What's next for me?
Yeah.
I said thank you if you buying it for my album or any other artist on Ropeadope. Just saying thanks. But you said what's next for me?
Yeah.
Staying safe. Right now, I've been working on the TV show The Masked Singer with one of the production teams, mainly cutting drums. They do bass and keys, and then I'll do like percussion and play drums for The Masked Singer. So it's maybe once or twice a week, and then I'm teaching and just pushing the album. That's my main focus right now, getting that pushed so more ears can hear it, getting some content together so some eyes can see it. You know, that's my main focus, getting this album pushed so when we're open, I can start playing out with my band.
Beautiful. I wanted to ask you about your involvement because we're about to go into the 6 o'clock hour, which is going to focus on the re-release of Sput Searight's album, King's List. And we had a wonderful meeting, and we have some members of the National Black Musicians Coalition that joined us. But I know that you're involved. You were so gracious to invite me into the room for an early meeting with this group. Do you want to talk about that a little bit before we jump into to that hour?
Sure. The National Black Musician Coalition is basically an organization of a bunch of musicians, engineers, and people that work in the music industry. Once, when George Floyd was murdered, Sput hit a few of us up and was like, yo, are your company saying anything? And then I was on another call with Shearin, who's actually the president. And he was like, man, musicians need to get together. I'm like, man, we've already been talking to Sput. Like our first call, he literally hit a bunch of musicians and sent a Zoom link. We were on probably 4 hours that first night.
Wow.
You know, and all of us we go back 20, 30 years, all of us. Since we were little kids, we grew up playing together in different church denominations and different church conventions. So we've been on each other before we were playing professionally. So yeah, we were catching up, but it was mainly like about what was going on. And then I introduced Chip to Sput. I said, Chip, just get on this call because we're already doing what you're saying. And then it went from that to like, now we're incorporated. We're getting our 501c3 together, but we're here to bring equity to Black musicians and singers and engineers, anybody connected to the game. Bring equity and diversity in a lot of the music companies. We're giving back to the youth. If there's a youth organization that caters to inner city youth or Black youth, we're giving to them. We're really for everybody. It's not just Blacks, but because we feel like we're underserved, that's our main focus. We're doing health and wellness. We're going to be doing insurance. We're going to be having classes where we're teaching people how to invest their money. You know, everybody on the board and a lot of the members are like super high-end musicians that's toured and played with everybody or worked at high, executive positions, different places, different companies. So we're putting our minds together really just to give back, create equity for the musicians that are there. It's a lot of stuff. And we're actually, this Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're doing a new membership drive, the first one for the year, trying to get more people involved. And we're going to use everybody's skills, whatever they are good at, or if they just want to be there. We're using so we need as many people as possible to show up this Saturday. They can probably reach me on Instagram, Gordon 512, and hit me in the DM, and I'll send them the link. Or go to the National BMC on IG, and all the information for the meeting Saturday is on there, and you'll see what we're doing. We have not to talk too long, we've had Sheila E. part of it, Paul Jackson Jr., Chuck Rainey, Harvey Mason, Will Kennedy, and then Aaron Spears, Nissan Stewart, Chip Shearin, Cora Coleman, Sput Searight. It's so many people. Divinity, Roxx, Dyson. It's a lot of us. Chris Johnson. It's pretty crazy. Sean Martin has been there. It's like little bit of everybody wants to help. So that's what we're there to do, to help.
I love the community aspect. It really hits home for me because the premise of what we've been building comes from the awareness that everybody's separate, and that if we can come together as community, that creates power. In one of the conversations, I think we'll hear it later tonight, or maybe it was in that meeting, Chip said, when a company or an organization sees him, he sees one black man. They see one black man. But when they see an entire organization, that's a different dynamic. And I like the practical application of it. And I also want to point out to people, we are going to post the Zoom link. We got the message through that it's okay to do that. And it was made very clear, and I believe that's in the recording tonight, that it's called the National Black Musicians Coalition, but everyone is welcome. If you want to bring your talent and support and be a member of this organization in earnest, please join the membership drive tomorrow. Please spread the word, and we'll do that. Gordon Campbell, it's a pleasure. I hope you'll hang out for a minute. We are going to jump ahead and start into our hour-long discussion of King's List, the one of the many brainchildren of Mr. Robert Sput Searight, perhaps the most underestimated man in America. Here we go.
Yeah, he puts in that work.
All right, welcome everybody. This is a very exciting day. We are here with a wonderful group of characters to discuss Robert Sput Searight's recording King's List. This record was created back in 2016 and it is about to be re-released. And I want to read a little bit from the liner notes so you get a sense of Sput's vision and intent around this album. February is the month designated for the celebration of the contributions of African Americans to society. I especially wanted to pay homage to the great civil rights leader, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., by dedicating a record to him. I've done a little research to see what music inspired a man so great, and found that there were 25 songs that he wanted to hear and played regularly with his wife, either in his hotel before he spoke or during an event at which he was scheduled to share. The album is a collection of spirituals and anthems reimagined to connect audiences of all ages to the memory of Dr. King and the treasure of freedom for all humanity. So this album came out as one continuous piece with spoken word interludes from the likes of Terrence Blanchard, Kim Burrell, Dennis Chambers, and many more, produced by Robert Sput Searight and Terrace Martin. And what Sput has done on the re-release is broken this up so you can play the music continuously. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about this record, and we're going to talk about how it looks from a 2021 perspective. So much has happened, and so many more people are in tune and aware of some things that maybe 4 years ago they weren't paying attention to. And this is a great opportunity to discuss it. And Sput has brought together a cast of intimidating industry veterans. Not personally intimidating, but their resumes are intimidating to me. So I'm going to jump over and let's introduce everyone in the room. I'm going to have to move out of order here. Bear with me a second. First, composer, bassist, MC, rapper, Divinity Roxx, known for her
Not a
work.
question.
What's is that? Which one should I say, MC or rapper?
All of it.
All of the above.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's no
there we go.
question.
I've been straightened out. Well known for her work.
You gotta add music director. You gotta add a whole lot to it.
I know. Well, you know, I'm not going to do this justice, but here's what you can do: look up every single person that you see. And
Just messing with you.
man, it is a journey. But I want to note, started out on the road with the great Victor Wooten. I have to throw that in there, and has several solo albums. Divinity Roxx, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We also have in the room the great Shearin, and this one goes all the way back, man. His first credit is probably the most talked about from Rapper's Delight, but so much more has happened across the course of his career. One of the top bassists in the world, and Aretha, Janet, and then it just goes on and on and on. So please look that up. Shearin, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Glad to be amongst the group.
Welcome, welcome. And we will move on. I want to check and see who's here and who's not, because we've got a couple of guests that'll be joining later. Aaron Spears, drummer. You know, when we're talking about this record, I particularly want to hear what Aaron has to say, because reading his bio, he began in the Church of God and Christ, moving forward with the Gideon Band, hit the road with Usher, and his list of touring and recording credits is immense, long, but also diverse. You know, I noticed Carrie Underwood, Jordan Sparks, and Usher all in the same paragraph. So I want to talk about that. Aaron Spears, welcome.
Good to be here, man. Appreciate you guys.
And let me see where I am. This is 2021, man, managing this. I think we still have a guest yet to come, so, a couple yet to come. So we're right there.
They're going to join us later on in the call.
Got it. Robert Sput Searight, you've got an endless list of credits, and no stranger to the world of Ropeadope. And I just, you are the connector, man. Like, all roads lead to Sput Searight. If you dig in and see some of the unusual and creative projects that are out there in the world, check those credits, because they'll probably come back to Sput more times than not. Sput, how are you?
Great, man. Thank you. Thank you for that little intro.
There you go. I don't know how many times I've introduced you, but it's just it's on, and I you know, they all know the credits. But so let's start with the record, and I kind of want to pass the mic over, because more important than anything that I think about these subjects are what everyone in this room thinks about these subjects. And I want to point out that one of the places we're going to end up in this process is Shearin, along with several others and some people in the room here, have started the National Black Musicians Coalition. And this is a kind of a hit the ground running action organization. I was fortunate enough to attend one of the meetings, and it feels different. It feels like here we are, 2020, 2021, and things are going to move, and action is going to happen. So shout out to Chip for that, and we'll teach people more in the program about all of that. So Spud, let's start with you, and why are we rearranging and re-releasing this now? Let's kick it off.
I think it's important. I think again, we're right back in my opinion. I feel like I'm telling my kids the same stories my parents were telling me when I was coming up in the 70s. So but even worse, they're experiencing and getting to see firsthand. We were kind of sheltered from the television. We were kind of sheltered from, there was no internet. So we just got to be kids in the midst of chaos and hell, and listen to music and dance, learn how to dance, and try to be Black kids growing up. So, but today is quite different. Like you said, The kids, they see everything we see, everything I see. They probably see it before me. So, I mean, obviously, Martin Luther King stands for a lot in our community, along with some other brothers that fought for our rights. But I think every year I kind of get creative trying to, just make sure that my kids know exactly who he was. Because, for kids that don't have a point of reference and, I wasn't around when Martin Luther King was born. But I think the further and further we get away from his death, a lot of things get missed in the story. So I just kind of try to get creative, and one of the ways is music, and so it was a cool thing for me to kind of involve them in this process. They were singing on a song called "He's Got the Whole World in His Hands," and I got a chance to get them involved and explain to all of the kids that what this was about, and gave me an opportunity to talk about Martin Luther King. So I think it's still, I think at the end of the day, after all this time, I think it's more relevant now than ever to continue to tell the stories and to continue to pay tribute to the man, because everything he was saying, he could still say these things today, So I would imagine how disappointed he would be to know that he would have to have a march in Washington this year, or in these latter years that we've seen. So yeah, so befitting to me to re-release this, because we started like you said, Louis, we started a coalition, and on the hands on coming off of the death of George Floyd, we decided to get together and have conversations about not just our community, but what was going on in the country, and now what's going on in the world. As we saw the whole world make a stand to racism, and it's been quite a journey, but we're determined, and we know that we're probably not going to see the end of it, but we're going to make sure we set a foundation that's going to go and see it to the end. So
I just have two quick comments about that. I don't know where I heard it, but I think I heard it today, where somebody had talked about being with their grandmother back in the 60s, and something happened, and she was told not to say something, and she asked why, and the grandmother's like, just shush, I'll tell you later. And then the grandmother never told her later. So that speaks to your comment about everybody knows now. People are getting this information, and I think that's a precursor to understanding. So
yeah, that was Dennis Chambers.
Oh, it's right in the album.
It's in the album. Yeah.
Of course. So, it seemed like almost like an NPR interview or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he was talking about it. There you go. So I'd like to pass the mic around. Fabian and I had a show a couple of weeks ago on the Friday before Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and one of the things that I wanted to communicate to people is that we do tend to, we mark a holiday and we have a historical figure, and then it kind of becomes one-dimensional, and we stop thinking about it, and we think, oh, there was that, and then everything got better, or there was that, and we tend to put it away. But it is an ongoing, constant battle, is it not? I mean, y'all can speak about. I mean, this has been present for you your whole lives, correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I grew up in Atlanta, the home of Dr. King. And I went to an all-black elementary school. Atlanta is pretty much predominantly an all-black city. And like Sput, I grew up in this time and space where I was allowed to be a kid.
But one thing was really important to my school environment and to my home environment, and that was pride and confidence as a young Black woman. Although nobody ever said, because you are a young Black woman, I want to instill pride and confidence in you, it was just a part of my upbringing. When I look at this list, I love what you've done, Sput, because as the incredible musician you are, you brought it back to music. What was the music Dr. King was listening to? Because you know how it is, when we are getting ready to do a show, we might be listening to some music backstage or getting into a vibe. That's like a vibe setter. It's the inspiration that takes you out in front of that audience and kind of gives you that fuel that you need, that inspiration that you need to go and deliver the message that you've asked God to bring to your people through you, you know? So that's so beautiful that you went to see what was the music he was listening to. And when I look at this list, oh my goodness, when I think about this music, you know, he's got the whole world in his hands. If you were a Black kid who went to church, it's almost one of the first songs you learned. You know, you learned he got the whole world in his hands, and you learned that this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. You know, Wade in the Water was a song that we learned, that our ancestors learned as code language for how to escape the chains of slavery. When I think of Lift Every Voice and Sing, it's one of my favorite songs, because when I was a little girl in my little Black elementary school in Atlanta, H.O. Burgess Elementary School, whenever we said the Pledge of Allegiance and sang the national anthem, we followed it up with Lift Every Voice and Sing. We never left it out. It was a part of our everyday. And I don't think kids are doing that now. The lyrics to that song have so much history that is uniquely ours in this country. It's so inspiring. It's so uplifting, and it brings that confidence and instills that confidence that I believe Dr. King wanted to be instilled in all of the young Black children in this world, in this country, especially in a place like Atlanta, Georgia, where he grew up, you know, and preached every Sunday. So I just wanted to add that to the conversation. And I mean, please, everybody, just, you know, keep it moving.
Every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Loud as the rolling sea. God of our weary years, God of a silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on our way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light. Keep us forever in the path, we pray. Forever we pray. waters, sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun till a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on. Let us march on. We gotta march on till victory is won.
All right, we are back here at the Ropeadope Room, the Ropeadope Music and Arts Festival, and we're hearing a pre-recorded conversation with Robert Sput Searight and some very notable friends of his and supporters who are actually part of the National Black Musicians Coalition. And we talked a little bit about the director's cut of King's List, which is being released today on Bandcamp. And yes, it is Bandcamp Friday, so you can pick that up. We will post links in the chat and let you know where you can pick that up. High quality. I recommend the Wave or the FLAC download. That was Nathan Deshawn Myers, who also has music out on RSVP Records. All of this comes from the mind of Robert Sput Searight, who we have learned to be a mysterious and interesting character who is an ultimate connector at the center of so many things. And unity, it's funny, it reminds me of the inaugural address in Washington, D.C., where President Joe Biden, that sounds good to say, said that unity is the hardest thing. It's the most elusive thing. And what it takes is work. And what you're seeing here with King's List and with the people in the room, these are folks who are doing the work, not just to find the beauty and joy in themselves during, through centuries of systemic oppression, but also on a regular basis to bring people together. It's not about everybody getting together and having a group hug. It's about the work, and so I respect Sput for that, and it's really, really interesting to see each person speak about this record and what it means to them personally. So, what's that, Mr. Brown?
Lewis, well said. What's coming to me now is just an overwhelming feeling of gratitude to be in the same space with so many great artists and musicians who have a great message to tell, not only through their music, but through their voice and what they represent and what they're fighting for on a constant daily basis, both in the music industry and, in their personal lives. But what I know is strength is in numbers, and when people get together and collaborate, beautiful things happen. And this is just a small example of what's possible when people come together and work together towards something that means a lot. So I'm fortunate, man, to be in the room with cats like you.
Yeah, it's funny. We when we get together and we have these conversations and we have them with the camera on, right? So we're very much aware that people are listening, at least 2 or 3, and I think one of the reasons we're always we have this gratitude, and it's not insincere, but the reason I think we keep coming back to the gratitude part of it is I don't think we fully understand how it works and how it happens and why is music this elevated language of understanding compared to the other parts of our lives. And I think we're just kind of picking away at it and looking to see, opening this thing up and see what it is. Why are musicians seemingly ahead of us on the curve of how to get along? Don't get me wrong. In any given, nothing is monolithic, right? You can't say musicians are this. You're gonna find, and that in and of itself is an example of how not to stereotype, right? You're gonna find some musicians who really don't know what the heck they're talking about, but you're gonna find most and many that have this heightened dialogue and this heightened understanding of what it means to be a community and how to come together and how to get the work done. And it's funny, this last year of COVID has just it's made me understand, or it's helped me understand, that there's not one universal happy answer. This is the work that must be done, and these are the people that are doing it. And it's balancing out the darkness in the world, and that is the game. All right? So I wax philosophical a little bit here and there. I want to now I can return to my pitch face and say it is Bandcamp Friday, and the reason we are here is to connect musicians, tell their stories, talk with them, and connect them to listeners, to fans. One of the ways that we do that is through this broadcast, but also through the great service Bandcamp, which is a functional community that sends money directly to artists. And on Bandcamp Friday, Bandcamp graciously waives their particular fee, which wasn't that big in the first place in comparison, but they've given millions of dollars to musicians in this way. And we have some really exciting things happening. We have probably 4 to 5 different pre-orders happening, from Lindsay Webster to Javier Santiago to Maurice Brown, The Mood. Only available a certain number of units on vinyl. That'll be it. Christian Scottotunde Ajwa Axiom vinyl is back in process from the first pressing that was cut short by some COVID delays. That'll be ready in a little bit. Boy, there's so much more. Hopefully we're posting this stuff.
Angela Moore, Yazbek Med, Velvet Portraits. There's a few others left. Johanna Bernhardt. Great stuff, folks.
Yes, and I want to be clear about this. So we talked about it earlier. We talked about it last night, but or yesterday afternoon. I want to talk about it again today. The music business there's one side of the music business that is pushing towards the typical Western capitalist concept of ubiquity, where you can just get anything all the time. So you look at Amazon, you look at Walmart, we're all used to it, right? I can just order this part and have it here tomorrow. It's wonderful, right? Well, that's not a sustainable model for an independent musician. And so we are returning, and we always have had our eyes in this direction, to this is special. This is a special thing. So how many Javier Santiago LPs are there? There are 50 in the world, or in the U.S. That's going to be it, right? Maurice Brown, The Mood, there are 100. Christian Scott, his first pressing of 1,500. Will we press more? Probably not. What we know we're not going to do is flood the market with cheap product, because this is product of quality. The music is quality, so then the vinyl should be quality and the CD should be quality. So I just want to remind you, you're buying something of value that we'll appreciate. So please do support. And with that, we're going to jump back into the middle segment of the King's List discussion. if I can find it. And I want to remind everybody real quickly before we jump back in that many of the people in the room are part of the National Black Musicians Coalition, which is having a membership drive open to all tomorrow. I believe we have a Zoom link that we're going to post in the comments. So please jump in and support that organization tomorrow. Thank you.
Well, I think that's well said, Divi. And I can tell you, Spud, I was a little taken aback that you did this. This is highly clever, let me tell you. On top of which, I think the timing, as you said, will probably always repeat itself. I don't think, some things, let's just say I think this particular work was somewhat timeless, all right? Like Christmas music, you put it out and kind of stand on it. For sure, the meaning of these songs will last as long as you are able to wear that hat as cool as you are wearing it. So, being a little older than you all, in 1963, when we marched on DC, I was 2 years old and my dad took me to the march. My great-grandfather was one of the actual founders of Black Wall Street. So we actually had a pretty good tie-in to the King family. We actually knew quite a few of them. And my great-grandmother was actually very close friends with Eleanor Roosevelt. So there was a lot of history around that kind of opened up some doors or avenues for me to meet certain people. I remember having a really important conversation with Paula Young, who was Andrew Young's daughter. We dated when I was at Duke. Some relationships, I'm glad we did, I'll tell you that. She actually right now is married to the vice president of the NAACP, Hillary Shelton. I remember getting into a conversation about Paula, about music, because I was a musician. Paula was dating a musician, me, and I wanted to know about these other people and what they thought. It was interesting. Coretta could sing. She had the voice. Martin couldn't sing at all. As she would say to him, he was a choir singer. Those were her words. She really didn't want to pick on him and say that he sucked. But he said he could carry a tune, but he was a choir singer. But music was really important to him. It shut out the arguments. It shut out the noise, the negativity that surrounded him, and it brought him back to his central place, which is that bit of spirituality. These songs that you've collected, Spud, for all of us, can bring so many people back to their personal spirituality. My hats are off to you for doing this. I can't wait to see what you do next. And it's an incredible journey from where we have been to where we're continuing to go, which is a part of why we started the Black Musicians Coalition. It has become national in scope because so many other people have become aware and wanted to join. Thank goodness for that. And our hope is to continue that work. But Sput's record itself, I think, may end up being that important work for our coalition, for so many of us to be motivated by. So proud to be a part of this call and always proud of what my brother Sput does.
Thank you.
Hey man, I don't even know what else can be said. I mean, I'm gonna tell you for me, when I look at the tunes, I think very much of, I'm sorry man, if my son is in the background playing Roblox right now, because that's his escape after being in school all day. But for me, I have to say, I think about when I'm getting ready to do anything, if I'm getting ready to go for a ride on my bike, there's a certain playlist that I put on to kind of get me hyped, to get me moving, to get me going. If I'm getting ready to go work out in the gym, there's a certain playlist that I put on that kind of gets me motivated, that gets me turned up. It makes me, go from turning into, David Banner into the Incredible Hulk. I feel like I'm getting stronger. I feel like this music is pumping me up. It's getting me hyped. If I'm, at home and I'm cleaning up, there's a certain records that I go to that I put on to kind of get me in the vibe or in the mood to kind of keep things moving and get the motion happening to do the task that I have at hand. So seeing this particular list and knowing that these were songs that directly influenced and put Martin Luther King Jr. in the mode to do the work that he did, just seeing the songs itself is inspiring to me. That's incredible. Because I know that in order for him to be able to do the work that he did, to speak to the people in the way that he did, to handle all the different temperaments that were totally coming at him, and for him to be able to move the way that he did, to inspire everybody, not just us, but to inspire the entire world, and for the legacy that he's had to be inspiring. It stems from what it is that he started with. Of course, the things that were instilled in him as a young man and growing up and all of that. But to know that music directly, that soundtrack has directly inspired him to be able to make the moves that he did, it's incredible. So for me to see this list, but that you created with the amount of talent and the singers and the musicians, for me, it's exciting, because this to me is something that I would listen to help put me in the right frame of mind when it's things that I have to deal with. You know, there's songs on here that will remind me exactly of who I am and what it is that I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. You know, when things are not going so right, maybe I'll put on something encouraging like The Whole World on His Hands. That'll help me get my mind right, because there's so many things that are trying to tell me otherwise. There's so many things that are going on that are trying to say, you know, no, there is no God. Because you got people who are just downright just disrespectful. People who want to spit on you. People who want to tell you that your life does not matter. So for me to see tunes like that here, to serve as a light to remind me of exactly what things are and what they really are, to put things in perspective, I'm really happy to see that. I gotta be honest, I'm a little bit angry because I felt like I should have known about this in 2016 when it first came out.
I put it everywhere.
Blame the label.
Blame the label.
My God.
I want to jump in, spinning right off of what you're saying, Aaron, because what I'm hearing, what I'm picking up, and I'm lucky to be in this room, because I'm surrounded by some great minds and individuals. I'm really, really fortunate, but I just appreciate you for bringing these people together in this space, first of all. But what I'm hearing is music is that connector. It can get us in that mood. It can get us excited. It can put us, make us tranquil, make us introspective. And for me, when I'm listening to the album, I have mixed emotions, because, we grew up listening to these songs in church, right? It has a different context, but then from a musical side of things, then you hear the production, then you hear how you brought it to life in a different way. And then the interludes the interludes was what got me, man. It's what really got me, because, you got little clips of different experiences and point of views coming to the front. It just brings back a flood of emotions for me. And yes, 2016, but still relevant today. And guess what? It's going to be relevant in another 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years.
Oh yeah.
It's timeless. And for me, what's coming to me now is just the opportunity to have articulate conversations with people from other perspectives, from other parts of the United States, bring their voice to it. So thank you, Sput, for bringing this music here to Ropeadope and doing what you do and bringing all these beautiful people here on this call today. I'm really inspired, guys, by all of you.
Yeah.
This is, I'm sorry, Sput. I just kind of want to riff off of that a little bit, because I want to speak to folks who might be watching, right? So many times when I gather with Black musicians, I hear the stories. There's sort of this silent, untold, this is the way it is, everybody knows, and this is, so I don't hear all the stories. I'm fortunate I get to hear more intimate stories of the challenges. One of the first times Sput and I started talking about his launching of RSVP Records, we were standing on the Santa Monica Pier and talking about this very issue. And he's like, you don't understand, this is what it's like, right? And I was really privileged, if I excuse that term, but privileged in a different way to be able to hear from his heart, like an actual truth of what it is like in the United States of America. I'm fortunate. I've had music led me to some of these understandings from a different angle, not from the church and not as a musician, but just hearing different artists along the way, and it led me to this space. But what I'm hearing from everyone in the room, and I want to communicate to people who might be watching, to whom this is not, who haven't had intimate experiences in discussing these issues with members of the Black community. The music for you, correct me if I'm wrong, has been a source of strength, a source of inspiration and uplifting, and a way to get through a very, an almost an intolerable, challenging situation of life, right? Not just an event. This is your whole life, right? And I want to encourage people to think about that, because that's what it's been for me, and that's what it can be. Because what I see is all of you are doing incredible things under these circumstances, right? Of life in America, right? And the music is a part of, if the music can do that and lift you up in such a way that you're so powerful and have so much compassion and understanding and ability to communicate, they can do that for just about everyone. And I think that's what's missing. Like, I look at the pop music world sometimes, and I think some people look at music as this sort of this like entertainment dance. It's not the full experience. And I think that this album can help people do that. I think all music can help people do that if approached from that perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, totally agree.
I wanted to just kind of go down the list and kind of just explain why I chose the songs that I chose. Like I said, it was like a list of 25 songs or more. And obviously there's a song on the list that wasn't around when he was born. But I mean when he was alive. But I wanted to just talk about, there's the first song is Balm in Gilead, which is a song that my grandmother used to sing all the time. And and it was one of my favorite songs that had been rearranged and re-released by an artist named Karen Clark. And so what I thought to do was just to bring some musicians. Me and Corey were on a Snarky Puppy tour, and we got on the tour bus, and we got in the box and created this groove, and I just wrote from it, and it became the song. And so, stuff like that. And I asked some people. There's a drummer named Eric Moore, and he has a sister named Denitra that sings really well. She can really sing, and I asked her to join me, and so she sung it. And I wanted to use people that wasn't really people that were kind of under the radar a little bit, because I wanted the message to be more important than the actual star power. And so I was just asking all these people that I thought would be a part, that had regular, that was just up and coming and trying to, just doing their thing. So we did. He's got the whole world in his hands. Those are all the kids. I wanted to bring all the kids together, my nieces, my nephews, my kids, and my homeboys and my homegirls' kids, and all of us. We came together and got them together, and that was quite fun. That was, a headache for me as the producer, but it was fun. It was fun to get everybody going, singing. Then we did Down by the Riverside. My homeboy Sean Martin, who is a keyboard player. At the time, we were always doing like these. We were introducing the city of Dallas, Texas, to Second Line, and we would always just second line everything, and just, just try to do that. We had to just second line everything, and so we decided to take that song and second line and got some brass players, horn players together, and we did Down by the Riverside, and I think that, all of these songs, like I said, songs we grew up hearing in the church. Gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside, study one no more. So Wade in the Water. Um, there was a there's a group called Mary Mary who did a version of Wade in the Water.
Yeah.
So I kind of took a spin off of what they did and kind of just revised it and made it new to another pair of sisters named Candy and Peaches West. Uh, and they did their thing on it, and it turned out really cool. And the next song is just a closer walk with thee. That song, my grandfather used to play this song on the piano, and what's interesting about that is that he really couldn't play the piano, but he could play the song. So he would only play the bass line and the melody. So he would go boom 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 da 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 boom 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 da 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 da. It was, but I learned how to play that. All of the kids in the family learned how to play that song at all the family reunions and all of the gatherings for the holidays because it was just the bass line and the melody. So we'd all pick it out just like he did. And it kind of inspired, probably some of the early, inspiration to my musicianship, my wanting to be a musician. So that was special to me that was one of his favorite songs, Martin Luther King's favorite songs. So I was like, so that was a real relationship there with that song. And then there's another song called Gotta Make 100. 99 and a half won't do. Um, we've heard so many quartets sing that song. But it was one artist that sung that song on a record. His name is Tommy Sims. And and that inspired me. I was like, you know what? I want to take and redo Tommy Sims' arrangement of 100. And I got my boy Doobie Powell to sing it. And I thought that, that turned out really dope and fun. Daryl Freeman, a bass player, played on it. Mark Lettieri played guitar. So it was cool. I did all the other instruments, but it was a fun vibe. And if you listen to it, it got real funky. And a guy named Keith Anderson played the saxophone on it. Then we lift every voice and sing, which is the national black anthem, pretty much. It's been um, it's been a part of my life since I was born. I learned that song before I knew the Star Spangled Banner. So I thought it would be a cool idea to do something different on this song because this song is always sung every year for Black History Month and for every Black gathering, caucus or convention, they sing the song. And so I went back to my alma mater. I went to Arts Magnet, a school where Erica Badu, Warhol Grove, Nora Jones, and a few other people went to. So I went back to that school and I talked to the orchestra lady, and I asked her that if I created an arrangement, could I get her to get the kids to play it, and maybe we do something where we get them to come in the studio and record it. And they did it. They worked it out. And so these high school, orchestras, high school string players got an opportunity to go in the studio for the first time and record themselves. Now, I mean, like it was a first time experience for everybody, I guess, because I had never done anything like this either. So I called up on my friend. His name is Roy Cotton, and he came through. And Roy kind of tweaked everything. I did the arrangement, but he kind of tweaked it and made it sound like a conductor, like a string arranger for real, because I'm like a composer, like a songwriter trying to do string arrangements. And he came and flipped that thing around, and they did the song, and I was like, it's just gonna be strings and vocals. And so we created like this real mystique Pink Panther vibe with the National Black Anthem, and it turned out really cool. So I was really excited about that. And I had my friend who's an opera singer. His name is Nathan Myers. He's also um, um, an artist on my label, and he sung it. And when you hear it, it gave you chills.
Mhm.
Joshua Fit the Battle of Jericho is the next song, which is a song I grew up also hearing. My mom has a group that sings Negro spirituals, African Negro spirituals is what they call it. And these are mostly songs that you would find the slaves singing in the fields. And this song, Joshua Fit the Battle of Jericho, is a very rhythmic and exciting song that my mom used to sing in a group. So I thought it'd be cool to have my mom and her group sing this song. And I mean, when you hear it again, that's another song that'll give you chills because it takes you back to our ancestors who were in the slavery days. So all right, this next song is a song I threw this song in there because um and I titled it "What's Really Going On." It actually didn't come out to the 1970. Um it was "What's Going On" by Marvin Gaye. But I just thought it was cool to ask the question again, you know, and just revisit the song. So I got Nigel Hall and we made it an instrumental. I got my boy B Slade to sing some oohs and ahs over it, and we had got some samples of Marvin Gaye here and there. But so just to throw just throw a bone into to the mix. I wanted to add something that I thought was relevant to the time period. So young, gifted, and black. So when I did research on this, I found out that he heard Nina Simone sing that song at a concert, and he wanted to hear it again, but she hadn't recorded it. So he request so many times for her to come and sing before um, one of his sermons, and she never made it. So Aretha Franklin sung that song at one of his sermons, before one of his sermons. So I thought that was a unique story, so I wanted to use that on here. So I had a person that we call that they called Little Aretha in the Dallas area. Her name is Tomion West. She's Candy and Peaches West's mother. So she sung it, and that was pretty cool because she's like a person that raised me. Um, so it was cool to have her on it. And then there was a song by Sam Cooke called "Change Is Gonna Come." Um, and so I had my boy Jairus Mose, guitar player, Keith Anderson, and the singer was Keith Young. And I mean, I don't even have to say, I heard Brandy sing the song. I was trying to get Brandy to let me I wanted her to sing in the bathroom at the time. She was doing these videos on Instagram where she was singing in the bathroom. And she was singing some of the baddest stuff I ever heard ever, and with so much emotion. And I wanted to just get her to sing it in the bathroom and send me that and let me put music to it. But I couldn't get it. I couldn't make it happen. But so my boy, but anybody knows the power of that song. When you hear that song, Change Gonna Come. If you ain't moved by that, then something's just wrong. But I really felt like it was important to have that on the record, and that just the fact that that was one of his songs, you know, he, you know, it just speaks to where he was. You know, he knew he wasn't gonna see it, but he knew it was coming. You know, and the last song is When a Black Man's Blue, which is the most interesting song to me because it was a Duke Ellington song. Duke Ellington big band song, and then they added lyrics to it. When a black man is blue.
Living in the ghetto. Living in the ghetto. You would never know the feeling walking around, been stereotyped for something that you didn't do. They try to put you in the box cause you a black man with some Jerry on and some nice shoes. Or they try to make you look like a drug dealer and put the pistol on you, shoot you down quick. Or try to outcast your social media, turn the whole world against you. Blacklist. That's how I feel when I'm walking down the sidewalk. Never know what's going on, never know if I'm lost. I could be the next target, face pushed down with his gun behind my head like, please don't move now. Excuse me for being this angry. I see the problems in this world and they not changing. Boys and girls' future feeling real strange. And I see my kids in their future, I'm feeling dangerous.
We are here at the Ropeadope Music and Arts Festival. Thank you all for joining. I'm enjoying all of the wonderful comments. Yes, that was smoking hot. Robert Sput Searight, King's List, Director's Cut, released today and available on Bandcamp. We are 2/3 of the way through a conversation with Sput, Chip Shearin, Kat Dyson, Divinity Roxx, and Aaron Spears about the making of this record, about the impact of these songs on their lives, and also about the National Black Musicians Coalition. And we're going to jump right back in because we're light on time. But when we come back after this last segment, we're going to chat with some Ropeadope artists. I already see Jason Miles, Grayson Brokamp in the room, and hopefully we'll get a gathering together and we'll all chat. I'd love to hear questions from fans for any of these musicians. So let's jump back in to King's List discussion.
And the fact that this song is not a gospel song, it was a jazz song, and I like the idea that he was so versatile in the songs that he chose to listen to. You know, it wasn't always church, it wasn't always spirituals, it wasn't always national black anthems. It was also, he had a variety of taste, you know, in the music that he wanted. And so this was the opportunity for me to like take a page out of my producing hat and basically do some hip hop. So I kind of sampled the original song. My sister is featured on it, and a guy that actually plays in the Duke Ellington Orchestra, his name is Shelly Curl. I invited him to play on it, and I invited a friend of mine who's a D to rap over it. So this completed the record, and I had my people like my godmother, some people that I worked with, and some mentors get on in between and say some words and give some stories that they experienced during the time period and what it was like to grow up during a time where there's signs that said white restroom only or black restroom, whites only, or only whites can drink out of this water fountain. You know, I just wanted to know what that was like as a kid. You know, how did they maneuver in those days, and what it felt like. So they told some of the stories, and then when it came to Dr. King, I didn't want to get the cliche go-to speeches that he made. I had to dig deep and get some of the quotes that and get some of the real powerful quotes, get some real powerful quotes from him that I had never heard before. Some of them I had never heard before. Most of them I had never heard before, and I think everybody will agree that these were some different ones, you know. So that was the whole point behind it, you know, getting his voice on the record, because, you know, I feel like it's important for the kids to hear his voice, you know, and just the power and the cadence that he spoke with it can never be duplicated. And so, yeah. So that completed the whole record, but now you get the gist of why I did it and why, you know, I picked the songs. And now we're gonna try to re-release it so that everybody can kind of experience it and get a vibe and really want to celebrate him. And the other thing was not to just celebrate him on his birthday, but to continue to celebrate him throughout the month of February. So.
And the year, and dig deeper.
Yeah.
I'd like to, sorry to interrupt, but I'd like to welcome guitarist, vocalist, and golfer, Kat Dyson, to the room. Look up this legend. Kat, how are you? Welcome.
I'm good. Hey, you know, I got this, the call. I knew that it was coming. I didn't know exactly what day, and I'd already preset a meeting with my agent because, you know, in Cali, the safest place you can meet is outdoors. And when they closed all the restaurants, So, but when Sput calls, I said I'm going to be there, and we just happened to be in a place where the signal wasn't good. But this project is so momentous, and just looking over some of the titles and thinking about my life in Virginia, going to segregated schools for a while. I mean, if you know anything about the law in Virginia, until 1973, it was illegal for a white person and a black person to marry. So, and a lot of the schools remained segregated until they forced us, to be in schools together. So in every school choir that I ever was a part of, Joshua Fit the Battle of Jericho was what the school choirs, that was one of the staple songs that you learned. That was, that we would have the choral competitions, and that would be the battle cry. So when I saw that, I was like, wow, you went back and you got them all. Young, Gifted, and Black. Every HBCU choir that I have ever heard or been a part of, we all continue to do the Negro spirituals. And it doesn't surprise me that Dr. King would be listening to these songs to kind of gird his loins as he stepped into this fight that never stopped even until the day he died. Right. So, but this project definitely has to come out, must be out, especially now that it looks like we're at the end of that 60-year rollback. Whenever something happens, it's always 40 to 60 years. We get to the point that we have progress, and then they want to roll us back. We get to 40, 60 years, and then if you count from the Emancipation Proclamation and just add 40 to 60 years, which, it takes a generation for you to lift yourself up. The minute things started getting kind of equal, they want to pull it back. So this project is as timely and a soundtrack to where we are now as where our parents were then. I mean, it's good and it's sad in a way, but it's really good.
Absolutely. Sput, that Martin was such a fan of music. Unlike us, we download the MP3. He would download the artist. In other words, he would have Mahalia, he would call Mahalia on the phone and have her sing to him when he was down. Can you imagine that? Precious Lord was one of his favorites from Mahalia. But just the whole idea that you could call Mahalia on the phone and say, baby, I ain't feeling well. Hit me with that spiritual. It's strong history.
No matter the time, though.
Yeah,
like it didn't matter what time of day it was.
That's right.
He would call. It could be late night. He would call, and she would answer, and she would sing.
They'd sing. So this project is crazy, man. I just think it is one of the brilliant things. You've done a lot of brilliant things, my brother. But this one here, love it to death, man. Love you too, boy. I tell you, I'm just so proud of you, man.
Thank you. Well, thank y'all. I mean, thank y'all for being a part of this. I also wanted to just bring it around to what we're doing together in the coalition, because we have come together to continue that which he started, and he and others, like I said, started, but to see it through in a way that that's quite different, because we're musicians, and right. we're going to use our platforms to speak towards inequality in a way that people have to listen, because they listen to us whether they want to or not, and it's just amazing to be able to use our platforms to do that, and
right.
and to see the resistance at the same time,
Absolutely.
So which tells us we have a great work. But I wanted to just make sure that we, in this situation, that we talk about, what that is and how we all came about. Chip is the president, and we have already started doing work, and we had already started, helping our community, and there will be a whole lot of more things to follow that you will hear about. But we're going to go public with it. And we actually are, as we speak, going public with it. But I just want to make sure that everybody know that this is a real movement. This is not a, stop and go. This is a real movement that we're going to see through.
Absolutely. I think we're all excited about that too. COVID probably brought us together. I can tell you, I don't know if we would have been able to pull it off the way we could have without it. A global pause will definitely cause new things to happen. There'll be new business trends, new way that we associate with people. And hopefully we'll look at COVID as a way that we actually healed some things that have been broken for a long time. That's our hope. You have hope and you have faith, right? I think we definitely have more faith than we have hope that we can pull off the work. That's the thing about it, because there's a body of work that never will be finished. Obviously, Martin didn't finish it. Malcolm X didn't finish it. Stokely Carmichael didn't finish it. And the list is on and on. It is an ongoing body of work. I was blessed enough to know that my brother Sput, at the same time I wanted to do this, was actively in his spirit wanting to pull people together. It is with that being said that we've been able to combine right around the week of George Floyd's death and really move this conversation into steps of action. And we're doing it every day. Every day we are on it and trying to figure it out. It's never been done before. And that's one of our sayings on our Zoom calls is it's never been done before. So we're rolling up our sleeves, Lewis and Fabian, and we are trying to figure it out. And for all musicians who get a chance to hear this, we definitely want you to be a part of this. You don't have to be Black to join. All right. We want all people who are willing to have a spirit of pulling people together to be a part of this. Similar to the NAACP, they have members from all over the place. We know what the weakness is that we're serving, and that's our target. But our heart is more open for the sake of trying to do good for all people. It just happens right now that we know that there is a large hole in the less equitable position of being of color, of being Black, and that is the market that we serve.
Amen.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that, Chip. I did have question. I did have, you answered a couple of questions that I do have about what people can do, and who's welcome, and in what way. I think, one of the things that can happen around this is supporting this release King's List. So some money can end up over at the NBMC. And where can people go? If people are interested in supporting, where do they go? Is the website? Is there a website? Is it Connect on Social?
Yeah. Aaron, you want to tell them about that?
Yeah, so you definitely, one place that's a help for us is our social media. We're on Instagram, we're also on Facebook, but you can connect directly with us on our website. The website is National BMC Online. Let me just verify that. Am I right about that? I'm not really
we'll post it in the credits and let people know where to go.
It is nbmc.info.
nbmc.info.
.info, yes. But if you did put in National Black Musicians Coalition, it's going to send you to nbmc.info.
Right.
Great.
nbmc.info. Thanks, Kat, because you had the last thing that I remember, it was the BMC online.
Yes.
Just a comment.
Well, we've gotten the rights to pretty much all of it, so all of it is going to send you to us.
Fantastic.
Because online, you really have to log.
I just want to throw in, Chip, you mentioned something that is so important and so precious to me, and that is the concept of community and the concept of coming together. So, as I observe the power structure in, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's an issue of African-American injustice, or whether it's rich versus poor, whatever the issue, the powers that be, the strong established system sort of counts on people remaining independent and separate instead of coming together. And it's the coming together that really moves us forward. You know, in my opinion, I do, you know, I'm not a heavy scholar, but in watching the movie Selma and reading about the events that happened and what really led to the some change was because people from different walks of life and different places came together around the issue, and that is really helpful. So I think, you know, donations are great, and we're doing that, but also just being present, you know, get present and accounted for, follow on social, comment, ask questions, learn, you know, those things are super important. And it's not just for what you do as an individual. I want to speak to the audience. It's that people will see you.
Absolutely.
These cats are doing the work every day. They'll see you in the room.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, it's similar to Wallace D. Muhammad. You know, he calls in on Malcolm X and so many others, and their early training for the Nation of Islam was a self-education, was to re-educate Black people to understand their self-value. Now, I can tell you, for Black musicians, they are undervalued at times, where they are probably operating on 20% of their capacity at any given time. There's so much that they don't know. And then you run across an individual like Sput, who is running at a much higher level. And the idea is to share the knowledge of Sput and Aaron with the younger sect to see, well, wait a minute, let me pull me together so they'll understand what it is like to cross a divide to make things better with other people. But we have to start with the education of the younger Black musicians to make sure that they are whole, that they understand. So we are very into financial responsibility, health and wellness, get into that, education. These are all the things that are part of the National Black Musicians Coalition. It's just not bringing people together, but it's back to the throw of let's educate, make sure that we're whole, help these Black people out who need to know, wait a minute, I didn't even know I didn't know that. That's the thing about it. And then move forward from there. And that also includes, Lewis, a person like yourself who has a wealth of experience at a part of our industry that most Black kids don't know anything about. To have you be a part of that educational structure to say, you know what you guys can do? Maybe you weren't the best drummer like Aaron Spears or Sput, but let me show you another way that actually affects creativity for the common good of our nation. Look what I've done with this creativity and with my own to bridge that gap, to bring people together. So it's through all of us that we have it. Fabian, your creative talents. We want Black people to know that it's possible to be a Fabian Brown. That's really important to us, you know.
Not easy.
So our doors are open for all of those things.
It's not easy to be Fabian Brown, but
Good thing.
my line, I say it every week, nobody doesn't like Fabian Brown. I've not met a single individual that doesn't like this man. But I hear you, and for me on this side, it's, and I always try to communicate this to people, that there's a set of beliefs that you're not even aware that you're believing. And that's what perpetuates this the most. You know, you read James Baldwin and he was talking about that specifically. Like this doesn't work unless people go within and think for themselves and start to recognize their own worth. So I hear you loud and clear on that. And that's unlearning, the great unlearning.
Yeah, for all of us, Lewis, for all of us.
Yeah. Well, this has been absolutely amazing. Thank you for your time, not just here, but for the greater good and positive benefit of humanity, the things that all of you do. I have great respect. I can't possibly overstate my respect for Robert Sput Searight, It's you know, it was years ago when I looked at the landscape of the people that I was meeting as this business started to grow, as we started to build community, and I kind of went, one of these things is different, right? This guy stands out, and he's not presenting that in any way. He's just over there quietly, and I'm like, how is this all working? And then you see how it's all working, and like I said earlier, the roads lead back to Sput, the great connector, great man. Thank you, Robert Sput Searight, and thank you to all the guests today. We really appreciate you. I hope we get to hang out again, and I hope that people will receive this record in a new and enlightening way as it was intended.
Listen, go out and get it. It doesn't have bad words on it. It's a very uplifting. It's very uplifting. The kids can sing it and the grandmas can sing it.
There we go.
Go get it. Go get it. And thank you, Louis and Fabian. Thank y'all for allowing me to re-release it, because I wanted to make it easier for people, and I also wanted to do. We decided to do a director's cut where you can just actually hear the lyrics. I mean the spoken word separately, and just get to the music, straight to the music. And I think you will enjoy it. I think you'll be pleased with the work we did, and I'm just grateful we could re-release it.
Beautiful. Who's grateful? I am grateful that I'm allowed to take part in the music that Robert Sput Searight has released to the world. It is such an honor to be appointed as a middleman to bring this music to the world and to tell everybody how important it is. I just can't say enough about the man. This is one of the most humble people I've ever met. He does not blow his own horn, but he is constantly working to bring quality music,
thank you,
vibe, and joy to the world. And we have in New York City, welcome to the room, Mr. Jason Miles. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, man. Thank you. And keep on this thing going, man. I look forward to checking all these out all the time.
Nice.
It's great to have a musical community out there during these times.
So on the break there, while we were streaming that, Jason, you mentioned something that you're doing for Black History Month. So I'd like to hear. I'd like to hear what that's about.
I'm doing for Black History Month. I'm doing a show with Soul Patrol, Bob Davis, and it's going to be a Luther Vandross retrospective. Because I spent 10 years with Luther, all mostly in the studio. And I mean, let's face it, you were together in a small room for 4 months together, making an album. You learn stuff, you hear stories, stuff happens. Amazing stuff happens. I mean, stuff you can't even believe is happening. And so, we're going to go, and a couple of people that played live with him, like Paulette McWilliams and I think Ivan Hampton. We're going to talk about Luther, and he is missed, incredibly missed. I mean, he had the voice of gold, man, that just always penetrated, and I just don't hear it from somebody, man. You don't get that gift all the time, even from a singer. Even a great singer doesn't maybe have that real special gift. And Luther had that gift, man. I heard it so many times. And that's how I learned my production, my vocal technique also to produce. Because I watched him produce so many artists. Watch him produce Whitney, watch him do his own vocals. When you see stuff like that going down, you shut your mouth and watch.
So where can people tune in to see this, Jason?
I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna get the address. It's soulpatrol.com, soul-patrol.com, and they've got a whole thing happening right now. I mean, it's gonna be on Facebook. It'll be announced, in a lot of stuff. Bob Davis, he's a real musical soul man. He really cares about, and especially about Black music. I mean, he just is a real champion of everything, man. Of even like the older groups, and he always goes and makes people pay attention to bands from the 50s and the 60s, because that's the essence of where it all came from.
Well, that's the key, and it's great to have you on, because you know, we can talk about Black History Month from the perspective of Black Americans, of African Americans, and we've had plenty on the show today. But you know, one of the things that is so important to forward progress are, you know, people on the sidelines who have not necessarily had that Black American experience, but that understand it and can be helpful and part of the community, who aren't threatened or confused by it and are doing it. So you've had an amazing career playing with so many artists, from Miles Davis, Luther Vandross, and on and on.
Chaka Khan and Whitney and Anita Baker, Al Jarreau. I mean, these are all like iconic, amazing figures that I got something from everybody from it. You know what I mean? But I was also very, you know, very humbled by my acceptance into it. You know what I mean? That, like, they accepted me. You know, and you know, especially like, you know, Miles and Luke. I mean, you know, we never looked at each other or anything. It's like, hey, Jason, what's going on, man? You know, I mean, but you did learn a lot because of how people were brought up into their lives. When you're in those situations and you're making an album, you know, when you're with people all the time, you know, man, you go back and forth in life and stories come out, and you know, your personality really gets revealed, especially in the studio, and especially back then because it was so interactive. You know, now there's really, here's where we're interacting, you know. And
right.
You know, back, you know, when I was really hitting it hard, you know, as a side, you know, as a studio guy, man, I mean, you know, you would be there for 12, 14 hours a day in the same room for months. And, you know, you had to create your own personality to understand how to meld with everybody. And when you realized how you could do it, it just made life a lot better, because you understood where the focus was. And the focus was on the artist and the music. And, you know, I was most of the time the only white guy in the room after the engine. I was, you know, I was. And I got my share of group. Not they, but people are always on my case, you know. One of the famous lines was, man, Jason, white people are deep, man, you know. I would hear that all the time, you know, saying, I hope I'm not that, you know, they would say, man, I check this cat out, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's all from a different perspective, but we will never know what it's like to wake up in America, you know, like they have to deal with every day, no matter how famous or whatever you are.
And yet we can have empathy, and we can understand it, and we can find the beauty and the respect. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah,
it helps a lot when you look at this whole view as just pigmentation. Right, it's tone. It's tone.
Below that pigmentation are some incredible gifts that were given to us, you know. And some of these people, I really go and I really tell people is, all this racist shit should be bullshit, because take out black people from America, and what the hell do we have as far as culture and everything, and music and all this other stuff goes, you know? They were the leading indicator, man. Just like you want Broadway. If you wanted Broadway, man, you got rid of the Jews. We're going to have no Broadway. You know?
Well, you know, and I want to make a point about that. So it's so often placed in that way, and I've said it many times, and I want to clarify that it's a tapestry. You can't separate this, right? You know, it's not just that we have nothing without. It's all interwoven. And, you know, if we stop for a second and look at how rich and beautiful it is. You know, my first time to Europe was only about maybe 10 years ago, and I'm not a young man. But it struck me when I got in the Paris metro and they were playing American songs. You know, and I was in Barcelona, and yes, there was a blend of music. So there was flamenco, which strangely enough is Roma music, not Spanish music. It's gypsy music, but there were also bands playing American songs. You know, it's like
I love American music, man. Yeah. I mean, you know, the musicians over there are iconic. That's why, you know, I'm thinking about, we're really thinking about, you know, moving over to Portugal, because I think that at this point in my life and career, they're going to appreciate the history that I bring to the music and everything, you know, and they really want that. They really want a connection with that, you know. It's different now, the way that they're looking at American musicians and everything, and it's a little different. But still, when you have the history and you have the stories and you have the experience, you know, it's a whole different world.
You know,
I look
because they-
forward to you being my neighbor in Portugal because I'm headed there as well.
We have to go there and spend a month, you know, look around, see what's happening. Because what I just found out, some really good news, was that somebody said, you know what, I bought this house at a very modest price. I really did. I had money from the studio scene, you know, man, saved all of our money, bought synthesizers and ate at restaurants, and that was our luxury. And lived in a little house, but we saved all the money from all the sessions I did and everything, and we got a house. And okay, so it's all cool, modest house, nice place, great piece of land. And now people want to move out of the city, and they want to move up here, and they want to open up small businesses. And this house that we have, real estate agents are calling me. They all want to sell this house for super money. I mean, really
Wow,
good money.
wow,
I'm like,
good.
oh, and I could keep it all because I've never sold a house before, so I don't have to pay capital gains taxes. You know what I mean?
Huh, wow.
And
Wow.
and so you know, that would definitely be something, but we got to go over there first and you know, survey the scene and see where we would want to live. Another place
Have you gotten the vaccine yet?
No, no, there's no vaccine up here.
Hmm.
We're just quarantining, and tomorrow's our anniversary, 51 years together.
Happy anniversary.
That's
All
a
right,
pretty-
let's see some comments in the thread, folks. Let's bring it up. Everybody wish Jason a happy anniversary. Let's get it
Here's my
going.
wife. She's the hero.
There you go.
Putting up with me for 51 freaking years. But anyway, I do want to tell you, I'm going to get nuts, but you know, I am working on some new music for some of the stuff, and as a bonus stuff for Black Magic album, because I want to re-energize that. It's just too good.
So-
I've got too many.
Yeah, so Jason's record, Black Magic, is out on Ropeadope. You can find it on Bandcamp, downloads.ropeadope.com or jasonmiles.bandcamp.com. And, you know, in keeping with our perspective on the way streaming and ownership of music interact, Jason's going to release, you know, some extra tracks that'll be available on Bandcamp. So what you need to do is go over to Bandcamp and follow Jason Miles. Make sure you're getting notified. Check that album out. If you want to have some pure, unadulterated cooking music, that's the place to go. And it feels like black magic. So
Well, the one new, I have one live track that I'm gonna, you know, have from our live session that we did, but I also have a brand new track that, you know, I got recorded, I did it, I arranged it. It's a killer. I'm excited about it. So like I say, and you know, for me to get really excited, but I can't wait for people to hear it. It's really, really cooking, man. Oh my God, it's like just blazing from top to bottom, and funky melody and everything. So we'll see. So, you know, but that's what I felt. I felt like, you know, everybody got their feet cut out from them, you know? And I got my feet out from them a week before I was getting ready to go out on tour to promote this record. And I'm just not going to let this go because there's too many good reviews. Too many people asked me what happened with Black Magic and everything. And
recordings last forever, and they gain in value, and that is what we're all starting to understand. You know, I talked earlier about ubiquity, and you know, the culture likes you to think that the newest thing is the best thing, and that's pretty much equivalent of just getting your food at the drive-thru at McDonald's every day.
I agree with
you.
you.
Know,
I agree with you more.
we're finding people on Discogs and Bandcamp as central places where people go to find treasured, timeless recordings, and this is one. I'd like to jump forward here a little bit. We're gonna speaking of treasured and timeless, I want to drop in on Mr. Clifton Anderson, nephew of Sonny Rollins, whose record is out. He has a comment on Black History Month, and then we're going to also listen to a little trailer that he put together that explains his record, Been Down This Road Before. And I think those words in combination speak for themselves. So let's drop in.
Hey, Clifton Anderson here with a few words about Black History Month. Well, as we know, Black History Month, or Black History, is the Black experience. It is what we're celebrating this month, but it's, you know, it's human history. It's human history. It's American history, right? Black history is world history. And I think that all of us that are celebrating it, I think it's a great thing to celebrate it because in celebrating it, we learn a lot more about the contributions and the aesthetics and the experience of my ancestors. And so, and in doing that, we realize that those contributions are vast. They're very, very significant, and they need to be recognized. They haven't been taught, so it's time to learn for all of us. I mean, I find that, there's so much information that I thought that I thought I had it covered. It's like music, it's like the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know that much. So, Black History Month is very important. I'm glad there's a celebration for it. As it applies to music or my art, that's inherent in my art. I mean, that's who I am. I live that experience every day from the time I was born, so it's inherent in my music. I can't escape it. I'm a conscientious person. I think that I am. At least I try to be. And in being so, I recognize, the history that I come from, the lineage that I come from, and it's within me, and I apply it in my music. There's no escape from that. So, been down this road before is an example of that. It's an example of paying tribute to people that have come before me, that I had an opportunity to know, and it's a celebration and a tribute to my ancestors and to the standard that has been set, and it's an extremely high standard, So my objective is in my art is to try to in some way try to approach that standard in everything that I'm doing, in the way that I live and in the music that I make. So I'm really happy that there is a Black History Month and that it's being celebrated, and I'm glad that everybody out there is interested in learning more about Black history, human history, world history, American history, goes out and tries to get some more information about it. Because as I said, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Happy Black History Month to my family at Ropeadope and to everybody listening out there. We appreciate you and best wishes to all. All right.
Do I have a favorite track? That's very hard to say. There's so many good tracks on this record. Every one of them has a unique thing about it. Okay, so the album is entitled Been Down This Road Before. And we started it about 2 years ago. It's a collection of 10 tracks. The 10 tracks consist of a variety of different material that I've written over the past several years. 4 of them are tributes. I have a tribute to Sonny Rollins. I have a tribute to my sister, Valen Anderson. I have a tribute to the late great African percussionist, Kamadi Dinizulu. And I also have a tribute to my dear late but great, one of the great legendary jazz bassists, Bob Cranshaw. So all of this is as part of this collection that we call Been Down This Road Before. And Been Down This Road Before started out, we had to raise money to get it done. I started a GoFundMe campaign. That didn't raise quite as much money as I would have hoped to have for it, but we got through that, and then the additional monies came slowly as I worked. I was able to, put more money in and raise some more funds. And so we finally got it done, and I got the musicians that I wanted to have in there. Actually, I call them artists. I think that they are beyond just being musicians. Each one of them are really artists, and some of them are in my working band. The others are musicians that I've been, just fortunate to have played with over the years. We don't get as much opportunity to play together. So whenever I can, make a situation happen where I can get them, I can get them. So that's what happened here. I'm very proud of the record. I think it's the best work that I've done to date. There's something for everyone on there. And all I can say is that, do yourself a favor and go pick up a copy of this one, because you will not be disappointed. We compose music and we present our music to the world. Those are our babies, those are our children, So I'm presenting, been down this road before, the project to the world. These are my 10 children, with one adoption. But other than that, they're all my children. And each one, a parent loves each one of their children, All I can say is this: each one of them was made to be, to provoke thought, to be insightful, to stir your spirit, your soul, to reach that part of you, the listener, and also to be endless. It's music that is going to be, that won't disappear tomorrow. You won't forget it tomorrow. It'll stand the test of enduring time.
What does Black History Month mean to me in 2021? That is a very loaded question, and I'll try to keep it brief. To me, Black History Month in this very, very pivotal year is a celebration, the continued celebration and the continued excellence of African Americans, regardless of gender, regardless of profession. The celebration of Black History Month in 2021 also means continuing to understand and acknowledge the fact that Black lives matter, that African American lives matter, and that they have always have. The celebration of this month to me means understanding that we need and we deserve as much justice as any other race in America, in the world.
The divine Lulu Fall, thank you so much for that positive message. This has just been a wonderful day. The Ropeadope Music and Arts Festival to kick off Black History Month. And we prepare these things, and I find myself spending time usually thinking, well, I have a zillion other things to do, like all the orders that are piling up on Bandcamp right now. I've got to pack those orders next week, and we've got, there's always something to do. But today I really took the time because this is a special time in America, and this is a time when we're all kind of paying attention to Black History Month. I mean, it rolls by every year, right? But and I know that there's some cynicism about, well, it's a month, and somebody said earlier, well, of course we got the shortest month, 28 days, to which I said, don't diss February. It's one of my faves, especially because it's the mystical month with the extra day. Just want to say that. But I think somewhere in this process of understanding Black history and understanding the African American experience in the United States lies our salvation and understanding, and our way, our path forward, our way to get through, to learn, and to figure out how we're all going to live together. American exceptionalism, it was a nice ride. It was wonderful. We're number one. Tom Brady comes to mind, but sooner or later, you got to settle in, and you got to be just like all the other humans, and you have to learn how to live together and how to work together, and that's what feels special about this 2021 Black History Month. It's more than just a marker and celebration. It's a transformative time. So Thank you all for joining us. And now we are going to jump back in. We've got a couple of folks from New York City. I want to welcome Alexi Glick, the snack cat himself. What's this background? I want to know the regal lineage of the cat.
Oh man, this is just like a cat lord that I found. He kind of looks like he's dressed like Napoleon, I guess. Here.
Is his paw in his jacket?
I don't know. I haven't. Let me see. Hang on. I'm gonna get out
Slide
of the
off
picture for a second
camera.
so we can see.
Yeah, let's go. Oh no, that's way beyond Napoleon. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that cat would not leave 250,000 troops starving on the battlefield on the way to Moscow.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he definitely looks like he has way too much pride
and compassion
about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and compassion
and courage.
Yeah. I guess Napoleon, he initially did a few good things before he became a tyrannical tyrant. And he implemented the modern day judicial system. Well, I guess that's not that great either, but comparatively speaking.
While we're digressing, did you know, is it true? I want to verify this fact. Did Napoleon's brother live in New Jersey?
I actually don't know that.
All right, we need to get on.
Yeah.
Fabian, take the mic. I'm going to find the answer to that question.
Man, way to pass that one off to me, Lewis. Thank you so much on the search for Napoleon's brother.
That Napoleon, that nutty, crazy Napoleon.
I got it already. So thank you, Google. We're going to shout you out, even though Joseph Bonaparte lived in Bordentown, New Jersey.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. He fled and lived in Bordentown, New Jersey, on an estate overlooking the Delaware River not far from Philadelphia. So technically northeast Philadelphia. Joseph Bonaparte.
That's great.
So we're really on
into
point here.
History right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
We call, is this like the jump the shark part of of the show?
That was the jump the shark part of the show. Now is when we try to bring it all back together. Always back to the pitch. Snack Cat on Bandcamp. Check it out.
Yes, please.
All right. There are probably, I don't know, a handful of hours left to be able to waive the Bandcamp fee and put more money in the Snack Cat's pocket to support these wonderful musicians at their time of need. So start there. Does that bring us back into focus?
I'm back, Lewis. I'm so back. I just want to say my 2 cents about today. I think today, for me, has been a great opportunity to have these conversations with these beautiful musicians and beautiful cats, Snack Cat included, pun intended. No, but seriously, I think I'm just excited. I'm really looking back and reflecting on the work that we put to put all this program together. And, the many different artists involved, cats like Jason Miles popping in, Alexi Glick popping in. I know Grayson Brockett was here for a hot minute. We had Gordon Campbell pop in, Jillian Margot pop in. All these guys, we appreciate your time and support. And then the fans, Lewis, like he had said today, these Bandcamp days have been nothing but an opportunity for people to support musicians in a time that we need that the most, These guys put their blood, sweat, and tears into creating art and creating music that lifts our spirits up when we need it the most. Yeah. And we've had over a year of shutdown where they haven't been able to express themselves, publicly and share that gift of music. So they're leaning on the recorded music industry for the the bread and butter, as they say. And I think what Bandcamp has allowed us to do to get more of that back into their pockets has been great. And for me, guys, just reflecting on the conversations today, I think for me, Black History Month in 2021 is a great opportunity to continue the dialogue, to hear different cultures and different backgrounds share their experiences, their positive experiences on how we can keep things moving forward. We all know there's a lot of things in the past that don't look so great, don't look so pretty. But when I'm in the room with you guys and hearing the stories, I'm filled with hope. I'm filled with hope because I think community together will tie us all back in. So that's my takeaway from today, Mr. Lewis Marks. And I just want to thank you for giving me some chance here to hang out with the cool kids.
You're gonna have to stop. You keep saying that and thanking me. Like, your spot is not granted by me. It's 100%, probably 200% earned by you, and it was an accident that I had it to offer in the first place. So, thank you. I enjoy it. I love the self-congratulatory or the cross-congratulatory mode of these things, and I hope that people who are watching don't take it in any kind of way except the way it is. Like, we are living the dream. We truly appreciate each other, and is it because we're super happy because money's rolling in and everything's going our way? Of course not. No. It's because that's the way we want to approach the world, and that's the message that we want to send out, and that's what we want you to do as well. And we see it. We see it when people support musicians. We see it when people come to Bandcamp. What I'd really love to see in the next 30 days is more people replying to the comments on Bandcamp. I know, like, you got social media burnout, right? Because you might post something on Facebook and hope for some likes because that's the way Zuckerbot set it up, right? But pause for laughter. When you post a comment on Bandcamp, you're literally texting the artist. That's what you're doing. Nobody's managing it, and they're not posting on Bandcamp to try to get a bunch of likes. It's like a text. It's a direct form of communication. So, I would love to see that over the next 30 days, to see us all communicating a little bit more on the Bandcamp app, because it's proven that Bandcamp is supporting artists. And we're unabashedly jumping in, on the Bandcamp ship. We have since 2008. That's the way to go. So that I want to say. And I also want to mention that this is just the kickoff for Black History Month. I'm going to return. I'm going to take a week or two, but we're going to come back with some shows that focus on not just music in the Black community, but also we're going to talk about books. We're going to talk about movies. I'm going to have some suggestions, some things that I've picked up over the years and things that Fabian can bring to the table. A suggested reading and watching and listening list, if you will, to tune in a little bit more and learn a little bit more about African American history, about Black history, because it's enriching. It's wonderful. So that's the end of my pitch. I'm super excited to get to our last track. We played it yesterday on the show. It's this video of Down by the Riverside from King's List with a vocalist by the name of Sean Martin, who knows how to throw a party. And it's not necessarily known as a vocalist, but he really gets it cooking. Before I do that, Fabian, do you have anything to add? And Alexi and Jason, any last comments before we sign off?
No, just stay safe. Enjoy music. Stay safe, and I guess Sunday, we're gonna watch the Super Bowl. That's all I can say.
And take care of your teeth.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to say thanks as always just for doing this and supporting us musicians, and it's always great to hang with you guys. And yeah, it's true. I do feel as well. This is a particularly meaningful and important Black History Month as well.
Good. All right, let's go down by the riverside.
Martin Luther King, not only the father to the civil rights movement, but also the father
to American consciousness. While many thought Dr. King's premise was fighting for the rights of African Americans, he truly was fighting for the rights for all Americans. His following the teachings of Jesus Christ, it allowed him to walk amongst any man having no fear. I think one of the most powerful lines Dr. King has ever given in a speech is when he said, "Like anyone else, I'd love to live a long life. Longevity has its place." This speaks volumes about his passion and his commitment for what he believed in.
Yeah, now. Walk that dog. Take your time. Come on now.